In this video, I'm going to take you through everything you need to know to get started investing using the InvestEngine platform from start to finish. I've used this platform for my own investing for a number of years, and I've shared the whole journey here on YouTube. Everything will be timestamped below so you can jump around to the parts you need. And as always, you can drop questions in the comment section if you need any help. Anyway, let's get started and jump right into the first part. Okay, so this part is going to be very straightforward. Before we even get any investing done, you'll need to sign up for an account. You can do this on their website at investengine.com, or you can do it from the app itself that you can download from your favorite app store. If you're a new customer signing up for the first time, I also want to let you know, part worth saying is that when you set up an account, you then have access to the different types of investing accounts that InvestEngine offers. You've got 3 kinds of personal accounts, and you've got a business investing account too. I'm not going to talk about the business investing accounts here, as I've done a separate video on that, so let's focus on the personal ones. You currently have a general account, a stocks and shares ISA, and a self-invested personal pension. Now, all of these accounts are accessed through the InvestEngine platform and one login. So it's very easy to manage, and you can have all of these accounts or just one of them inside your main account. For example, if you have a look inside my account here, you can see that I get access to an ISA, a general account, and a self-invested personal pension. By the way, if you want to adjust the appearance of these accounts, you can click here on these 3 dots, and you can move accounts up or down in your view. The different accounts have different tax rules and different limits, so please make sure you fully understand this before you get started. I've made loads of videos on my channel covering the details about the different ISA accounts and what a SIPP is, so if you need the basics, feel free to go back and watch those before moving forward. As always, tax rules can change and your personal circumstances may affect how much you can invest. Right, with the account set up, you'll now be at the stage where your app looks like this. You've got several sections which you can access from the 3 buttons here at the bottom. And the default screen will be the home screen, which has all of your accounts, all of your portfolios, and a total balance from all of your investments. From the top, you have a news feed of the latest information, and you can scroll through these if you want to keep an eye on any of the latest posts from the InvestEngine team. Working our way down, you'll see your account balance, your different investing accounts, and all of the different portfolios, which are these individual cards here. I'll show you this later on in a bit more detail and how all of this works. Now, the next section is this one on the left. If you click here, you'll get to the Investments tab. Here you can browse and filter all of the investing options that InvestEngine has to offer. At the time of making this video, there are 792 different ETFs to choose from, which should be plenty for the majority of people. At the top, you can search for specific investments and filter them depending on certain criteria, or you can scroll down and see other sections like a list of the most popular investments. Next up, you then have a collection section where you can see certain investments that fall into different categories here, like recently added ones, dividend-focused funds, or even different themes like artificial intelligence and robotics. Then finally, you have the industry section where you can filter your investing choices down to specific industries like technology, financial, and even property. Now, I can't spend the time going through each of them in this video, otherwise we'd be here all day. However, I will mention later on in the video some top tips on how I'd look into some of these investments and some key things to look out for. Just remember, I'm not your financial advisor, and it's important to make sure that you do your own research to find investments that work for you. Okay, the final section of the app is this button here with the 4 squares. It's got analytics, transactions, and reports inside of it, should you ever want to dive into some of the details. I really like the analytics section here, as you can go into each of your portfolios and see exactly what it's investing in. For example, I can see here that across all of my portfolios, I have 100% equities, 7 regions covered, 9 different sectors, and a total of 4,386 holdings. Basically, I'm well diversified and I'm invested in lots of different companies from all over the world, as you can see here. What I really like here is that it shows you the actual amount in pounds that I own of each company, and you'll get the same once you start investing too. I think it's always nice to remember that when you invest, you're getting a share in real companies, and it's not just a number on a screen that you keep refreshing all day long. Right, getting on to the more exciting parts now, let's talk about how to start an investing portfolio itself. InvestEngine is all based around portfolios, and you can imagine these like little buckets which sit inside of the different types of accounts. So for example, inside your stocks and shares ISA, you could have 3 different portfolios, all investing in different ETFs. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you like. Creating them is super simple, and all you need to do is click here where it says create portfolio or transfer. You would then choose to create a portfolio, and in the next step, you'll decide in which account you want that portfolio to actually sit. Like I just said, you can have as many portfolios as you like, and you can even make them without putting any money into them. So Don't worry, at this point, you aren't making any commitments or locking yourself in. Once you choose DIY, you'll then get to the screen where you need to add some investments into the portfolio. Like I just said, don't worry about making any mistakes here or choosing something wrong. You're not adding any money yet, and you can change and amend these as much as you like before you make any kind of investment. Now, at this point, you need to make some choices, and then once you've made those choices, you'll be deciding what percentage of your portfolio you want in each ETF. Now, let me just do a quick example, as this will make it easier to understand. So I'm going to pick two simple ETFs here that I've spoken about before, and I'm going to find a Vanguard Developed World ETF and then a Vanguard Emerging Markets one. Then I'm going to add these both to my portfolio, and then when I get to this screen, I need to decide what percentage of each I actually want. If it helps, I like to imagine a percentage in the same way as if I were to invest £100. So for every £100 here, I can make it so that I invest 90% in the developed market and 10% in the emerging markets. This would translate to £90 in the developed market and £10 in the emerging markets. Once you're happy with the percentages, you can press review and continue. You'll then get to the look-through page, which shows you how the portfolio looks. And finally, once you're happy, you can save and continue. You'll see that by default, the portfolio is named DIY followed by a number, which is if your first one, it will just be called DIY1. To change this, you can go to options and then rename it, or you can just leave it as it is. Right, next up comes the fun part where you'll actually start adding money and getting yourself invested. You can do this in two different ways on this platform, and I'll show you both options and which one I actually use. Firstly, if you go to invest and press that big button, you'll see that there's no cash inside this account. And in order to invest, we'll need to add cash from a bank account. If you haven't done this already, you'll need to set up a bank account. It's a very simple process. And once that's done, you won't need to keep doing it. In order to do this, you just need to press add cash and follow the steps, which are very simple. InvestEngine is able to connect directly to your banking app, and you can decide exactly how much you want to send over. Once you've deposited money into the account, you can then go back to the investing screen and then choose how much of the money you want to be invested into your portfolio. For example, if you had deposited £100 and you want to invest the whole of it, you can just type £100 here and then press invest. You'll be asked to confirm the transaction and then the order will be placed. Now, the second way to invest on the platform, and the way that I prefer personally, is by using the savings plan feature. This is an automated deposit system that lets you invest on a regular basis, whether that's every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. To set this up, all you need to do is click here where it says set up a savings plan. You'll then get taken to a screen where you decide how often you want to invest. As a quick example, I'll choose monthly, then I'll choose the first day of the month, and then I'll choose £200. Once you're happy with everything, you can then go to confirm and you're good to go, and InvestEngine will set this up for you. As soon as a savings plan is set up, Auto Invest gets turned on, which means that as soon as your money gets deposited into your account, it will get invested immediately. If you want to invest automatically on your own timescales without a savings plan, you can still do this. You just have to turn on the Auto Invest feature, which can be done right here. Just know Auto Invest gets turned on automatically when you have a savings plan set up. One other little feature that you might not realize is that you can actually move cash between your portfolio. So let's say that you deposit £500, but you only wanted to invest £300 into this portfolio. You could then go to Move Cash option and transfer that cash to another portfolio. Nice and simple. It's worth me saying here that when you invest with InvestEngine, orders are placed once a day and they're not immediate like on some other apps and platforms. The order window for InvestEngine is between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on business days, and they say that you need to make sure that your order is placed before 2 p.m. in order for it to get processed on that same day. If it's placed later on, it will get queued for the next working day. This process is done to help us all save on fees, as it's a lot cheaper to collect everyone's buy and sell orders, match them up, and then get them placed at the same time. Let me just take a second here to remind you that you're very welcome to look at any of my InvestEngine portfolio updates if you want to see what things I invest in personally. It might help you to get a bit of inspiration, and it might answer some other investing questions that you could have. You can find them all on my channel, and they go back since I started investing using the InvestEngine platform. Okay, let's talk about fees here briefly so you understand how they're taken and where they apply. InvestEngine has very low or zero fees, depending on what you actually use on the platform. You can find all of the fees listed here, and you'll see that there's no dealing fees and no fees to open and manage an ISA or a SIPP. There are fees built into the cost of the ETFs themselves, which apply no matter where you purchase these investments. They're not taken as cash and they're always reflected in the price of the ETF itself. These fees get paid monthly and you can read here how they're paid from cash in your account. If there's no cash in your account, a small part of your investments will get sold to cover those fees. Right, next up, let's talk about transferring investments from other platforms. A lot of you out there might have investments from other platforms, and you'll be glad to know that if you do want to transfer those to InvestEngine, then the process is pretty straightforward. In order to transfer an ISA to InvestEngine, you just need to press this button here where it says Transfer an ISA. Fill out the relevant details and then the team will take care of the rest for you. You'll need to know the name of your existing provider and an account number that the InvestEngine team can use to find your account when they contact your provider in the background. They say that ISA transfers will take up to 30 days to complete and they'll try to do them in specie. This is a fancy word that just means that they'll try to move your investments as they are rather than just receive cash from your existing provider. For example, if you have an account with a major provider and you hold an ETF like VUSA, InvestEngine will ask that provider to just move the holding of VUSA directly to them without having to sell it. This may not always be possible though, as the provider sending your money may or may not have the ability to do an in-specie transfer. You'll need to check with them first. If your old provider is not able to do this, then what usually happens is that they'll sell your investments and send them over as cash instead. Likewise, if you want to transfer your investments away from InvestEngine for whatever reason, you can do this, but they currently do not support in-specie transfers going outside. It's worth saying that you can also transfer an existing SIPP to InvestEngine, but at the moment it can only be done from Vanguard. The process is a similar one, and you just need to select the transfer from SIPP from Vanguard where you have the pension account inside your InvestEngine app. Now at the moment, as of recording this video, InvestEngine have a bonus offer where you can earn up to £4,000 for transferring your existing ISA or SIPP to their platform. This is open to both new and existing customers, and new customers will be able to get any cash top-ups counted towards the different bonus tiers. Terms and conditions apply. Please find all of the details on this page here, and this is time limited, ending on the 31st of May 2025. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this part as I've done lots of videos about how you might choose the right investments for you. This is something that you'll want to take your time on and fully understand what you're getting yourself into. However, what I do want to explain here is give you a bit of an overview of what InvestEngine can show you about looking at their different investing options. If we head over to the Investments tab of the app, we get back to the page we had earlier, showing us all of the different options we could choose from. If we know what we want to look for, we can use this handy tool here where we can filter out what kind of ETF we're looking for. For example, let's say that I want to try and find one of the lowest cost funds that lets me invest into the S&P 500 index. I can sort by total expense ratio first, then I can choose asset class. Here I'll need to select equity, which is just a fancy word for saying stocks. Provider, I don't care in this example, but you're welcome to filter that down if you like. Next up, I choose accumulating of dividends. This is just a personal preference, as it means I don't have to do anything at all and worry about dividends. After this, I'm not bothered about the other options, so now I've got my list. What I can see here is that there's quite a few results, but the top one is the fund I was looking for, which is this one here with the ticker of SPXL. If I click into it and scroll down, I'll get all of the key information I need to look out for. For example, I'll see the TER, which is the total expense ratio. I see the replication method, and then I see the fund size. If I scroll down further, I can see what is exactly inside the fund, broken down into all the different parts. And finally, a crucial thing is the key investor information document, which is a legally required section that will take you to an external web page giving you all of the small print for this fund. Now, investing is a totally personal thing, and as you know, I'm not a financial advisor, so this part is really up to you. However, if you want to learn a bit more, then it'll be worth checking out my other videos on my channel, including my InvestEngine portfolio updates, where I share exactly what I invest in, and I've even made some portfolios that are shared too. You can access any of these with a simple click, and I'll make sure to pop these in the description of this video. It's worth saying here too that you can add as many portfolios as you want into each of your investing accounts, and inside your portfolio you can put as many ETFs as you like. Okay, so let's say that you've got a nice investing portfolio going, and for whatever reason you've decided that you want to make some changes. Here's how you might want to do that, and you can do things in a couple of different ways on the InvestEngine platform. Firstly, if you want to sell your investments, it's a very simple process, and you can go into your portfolio, go to the options page, and then select Sell Portfolio. Here you can choose how much you want to sell, and it also makes clear here that when you sell, it will sell according to the weights you've set. So for example, if you had two funds in your portfolio, with one being 80% and the other being 20%, this is where the money will come from. If you sold £100 worth, £80 would come from the fund which has 80% aligned to it, and £20 would come from the fund with 20% aligned to it. Once you've placed that sell order, you'll have to wait to get the order processed, and then your cash will be available to you to do whatever you want. If you want to withdraw the cash to your bank account, you simply go to the options page and choose withdraw. Then you just confirm the amount you want to process. Or if you want to move the cash to another portfolio, you can just use the option here where it says move cash out. Nice and simple. To change your investments, it's probably easiest just to create a new portfolio, sell your existing one and move the cash to that one. However, if you just want to add an investment, you could just edit your existing one and add in what you want. Whenever you edit a portfolio, remember you'll go through the same process we spoke about before. You choose your investments and then you choose the weights, which must add up to 100%. For example, let's say you have two funds in your portfolio from an earlier example, and now you decide that you want to add an ETF that follows the price of gold. You could add this one into it and then allocate a percentage to whatever you deem appropriate. Nice and easy, and then any future investments will follow these percentages that you have set. Now, to rebalance a portfolio, this can also be done easily, and you just need to go to the portfolio itself, go to the options page, choose the rebalance portfolio option, and then press a single button to confirm. Rebalancing is something that you might want to do when your portfolio weights start to sway from what you had originally set. This could be for any number of reasons, but let's say, for example, that you only wanted 50% of your investments in an S&P 500 ETF. Over the year, the S&P 500 performs really well and ends up becoming 60% of your portfolio. In order to avoid this, you can rebalance the portfolio, and InvestEngine will sell your investments to reduce their weight and buy investments to increase their weight. It might sound quite complicated, but it's all done for you in the background. I actually did this with my own portfolio recently, and you can go and watch this on my channel if you want to see this done in real time. It's worth saying here that if you regularly invest each month, the weights used are always the ones that you have set up in your portfolio in the first place. Hopefully that all makes sense, but this is a slightly more advanced thing to do. Don't worry if you don't fully understand what it all means right now. Okay, here's a very quick summary of what we've covered and how InvestEngine works. Firstly, when you register, you get a single account which will hold all of your different investing accounts. You can have a general investing account, a stocks and shares ISA, and a self-invested personal pension. Inside each investing account, you place portfolios which contain your investments. You have hundreds of different ETFs to choose from, and you can make as many different portfolios as you like. To invest in a portfolio, you can either add cash manually from a bank account, or you can set up a savings plan which will automatically add money from your bank account on a timescale that you set up. This could be weekly, every 2 weeks, or every month on any day of the month. You can change investments whenever you want. This is all up to you. Basically, you can invest as hands-on or as hands-off as you like. I hope you found the video useful. If you need some more help, here's some ideas for some investments that you might want to research next. And here's another video showing you a complete beginner's guide to investing. I'll see you in the next video. Happy investing.